The ultimate tournament of everything.
Welcome to the Tournament of Everything Scouting Report, where we take what we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays and break it into 18 little parts, all for you, one at a time.
Yes, everything is special, everything is unique, but on these scouting reports, we're not interested in everything. We're simply interested in one thing, which we will be randomly generating in about a moment. So, Rob, tell us who we will be investigating in this episode.
Our investigation today centers around Picasso's written works. You heard me, not his artworks, his written ones.
Although, okay, I did not know that Picasso had written works as well, but he's probably writing with ink. Is that any different? Is a page of text not, in a way, a painting?
I think, in the strictest sense of the term, no. But as with most creative people, they're not creative in just one format. They're creative in about everything they do, and Picasso's writing was no different. Now, his writings are often overlooked in discussion of his long and varied career in the mediums of painting, sculpture, drawing, collage, papier-mâché, photography, assemblage, ready-mades, printing, ceramics, and theater designs. At least 5 of those I had no idea he was known for.
He was just good at art, period. Despite being immersed in the literary sphere for many years, Picasso did not produce any writing himself until the age of 53. In 1935, he ceased painting, drawing, and sculpting and committed himself to the art of poetry. Let's call it at least word painting, which in turn was briefly abandoned to focus upon singing. So he could do literally all of it.
Although he soon resumed work in his previous fields, he continued in his literary endeavors and wrote hundreds of poems, concluding with the burial of the Count of Orgaz in 1959. I forget that Picasso was around that long. Picasso in my head seems like a way early 1900s person, and I don't know why. Probably because I'm not smart.
Very modern, especially in his own time. Still today, there's a lot of people who look at it and go, eh, yeah, which is definitely a hallmark of modern art. And some people love it, some people love some of it, and I'm loving that he was all about it. He was involved with literature very deeply. He moved to Paris at the dawn of the 20th century and soon met and associated with a variety of modernist writers. Poet and artist Max Jacob was one of his first friends Picasso made in Paris, and it was Jacob who helped the young artist learn French.
Now, Picasso did hang out with a bunch of other writers such as James Joyce, Ernest Hemingway, and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, there was a quote from photographer Brassai, who's well acquainted with Picasso, who said that no one ever witnessed him with a book in his hand. I think that's shade if ever there was some.
Well, some knew him and said that the artist read after dark, though critic and author John Goldberg speculates it's more likely that Picasso absorbed information, listening to the conversation of his writer friends and other intellectuals. He was heavily involved in the production of literary works, and over the course of his career, he illustrated about 50 books as well, and provided maybe 100 more with dust jackets, frontispieces, and vignettes.
Now we're going to talk about Picasso's early works, but remember, these are just his early written works. In 1935, Picasso's wife left him, and in the autumn he left Paris for the relative isolation of the La Chateau de Boigelsguap in Glissers. According to friend and biographer Ronald Penrose, at first, Picasso did not divulge what he was jotting down in the little notebooks which he had hid when anyone entered the room. I'm assuming he was journaling, man. Leave him alone. Now, some of Picasso's first poetical explorations involved the application of colored blobs to represent objects, so even still mixing some of the painting to which he is most known.
He had style, and that style may be called surrealist. And he wrote not only We've talked about poetry. I'm not sure if he wrote stories, but I do know that he wrote two surrealist plays. One called Desire, Caught by the Tail, in the winter of 1941, followed by Les Quatre Petites Filles, The Four Little Girls, which was published in 1949. And in 1952, he wrote a second version of The Four Little Girls using the same title. The work employs a stream of consciousness narrative style, and some critics believe that Picasso never meant for the plays to be staged, but only read.
Now, any great work is not without its criticism. In a 1935 letter to a friend, Stein stated he writes poetry, very beautiful poetry, the sonnets of Michelangelo. Later, however, upon meeting with the artist at a gallery, Stein's attitude had apparently changed. "Ah," I said, catching him by the lapels of his coat and shaking him. "Is it all right? You are doing this to get rid of everything that has been too much for you. All right, all right. Go on doing it, but don't go on trying to make me tell you it's poetry." And I shook him again.
Well, sometimes people do that. They go on and on. They do it over and over. They go and repeat themselves and repeat what they're doing. And I'm repeating myself only to get to the point that it's kind of what we do here on the ultimate tournament of everything. We show up every single day and give you nuggets of the infinite, diving on 5 days a week with just one competitor in a scouting report to see how we think it might fare when it inevitably appears to compete in round one.
Those 2 other days of the week, we do have episodes, full-length ones, of course, where we compare 18 competitors over 9 rounds. And do we ever get to a point? Well, no. But such is infinity. So we hope you join us for the next one.
The ultimate tournament of everything.